All right, guys, what do we got?
Dave,
how you doing?
Craig Curry is retiring this year, and you've got a lot of Provo High players. Is there kind of a common theme of how those guys have been prepared to play at your level?
Well, the best thing about those players is that they come in here and they've been coached. I mean, they have a system that they run, and everybody learns how to play in that system. And so when you get them, they're pretty programmed to be able to figure out. We better figure out what this system is and how to play in it. And that's been, the fact that how hard-nosed they are, and they're fighters. They're just guys that have a lot of similar characteristics, and those are all the characteristics that they've learned coming through that program. And Craig's been a good friend of mine for years. When I was at Dixie, he brought his teams down to our camps and spent weeks down there. And I had a few of his players when I coached at Dixie, and the people who played for him are really lucky. I mean, they've had a great high school basketball experience, and he'll be missed. He'll be missed in the state. I've always said that players in the state of Utah are really lucky because there's great high school coaches in the state, and having Craig, decide to retire, we're losing one really good one.
Can you talk about Tyler Haws, senior night, and your memories of his career?
Yeah, Ty, when you think of him, for me, I just think of consistency and toughness. I mean, he's a guy that this year has probably shown as much grit and toughness as any player we've ever had. Going through that injury in December against Weber, and then being able to play a week later and be so successful in that game against Stanford, and knowing where he was on Monday and where he was on Tuesday, and what all the talk around his chances of actually being able to play in a week, it didn't look good. And he was really consistent in his approach to that week, and felt like every day there was some improvement. And Ty is really good at just taking today and working on today, and then seeing how that can affect you as far as being better the next day. So we're all going to miss him, but I'll really miss his approach because he's a special guy in how he prepares every day to be a better player.
What are your emotions? Go ahead, Jeff.
What comes to mind when you just think of the senior class in general? These guys that, after not having any seniors last year, and then having some core guys senior this year.
With Ants, when you take a guy who's been here 5 years, and then Ty has been in the program basically for 6 years, because there's 2 years when he's on his mission, and then Josh has been here for 4 years, and Sky for the 2 years he's been with us. I mean, that's a lot of practices, and that's a lot of workouts, in the summer, and a lot of just commitment to our program. And that's kind of what I think of with these guys. Every one of them has really improved since the day that he got here, and all that is basically due to their hard work and their commitment. And for them to have a real effect in the last couple of weeks of the season is really kind of a testament to their work ethic and their commitment to our program.
What are your own emotions heading into a senior night?
Well, every year it's a little bit different, because you have a different connection and relationship with each guy. And I remember the first senior night here as the head coach, there was one guy in that senior class, and he just happened to be my son-in-law, Brock Richner, when he graduated that year. And so that's a little different than, when Jimmer graduated. And so I think every year the connection's a little bit, it's pretty emotional, because you've had an experience with those guys that is unlike anything that you can describe, because of the highs and the lows, and the good times and the really challenging times, and the ability to kind of scrape yourself off the ground and get up for the next challenge, and be able to be successful in that, and that bonds you pretty good with those guys. That's actually the best part of the job, is that whole relationship that you have with those guys.
You didn't have the seniors last year. What about what you get out of that senior group that reflects and impacts the other guys on the team?
Well, I think this year, with some of the injuries that we've had, especially the injury to Nate. Nate has been such a vocal addition to our team off the floor without being able to help us, and I really hope that helps him. If he gets his year back, which we expect him to, and he plays next year, that can transfer to him being really vocal as a player on the floor, because he's really learned to do that off the floor out of necessity, because that's really all he's been able to contribute to the team. But I think any coach will tell you that as special as these young players are that come in and are ready to go from the day they get here, there is something really unique and special about senior leadership. And even if they're not captains, just leadership that they bring through experience and through individual, ways that they can explain to other guys about situations. I know that just from this group, Anson was had a really tough injury going into his sophomore year with his ankle, and when Jamal went down early in the season, was really struggling with his ankle injury. I had a lot of opportunities to just kind of overhear Ants talking to Jamal to hang in there and stay with it. Let me tell you a little bit about what happened with me. And so I think that those kind of things are just invaluable.
Dave, what has Frank Barley kind of done or shown you that has enabled him to get so many more minutes?
Well, I think that it all kind of comes down to rebounding. It's a real stat for our team that determines whether we win or lose games. I mean, it's as obvious as anything that maybe I've ever seen in a group. And his ability to take that as a personal challenge, and his rebounds per minute has been awesome. But then he's a playmaker too. He's a guy who can get his hand on the ball, block a shot. He's made a couple big threes for us. He's just playing really well with a lot more confidence in kind of the role that he has.
Anything else?
Anson,
he practiced well this week, yeah, and he was in. Today probably was the best he moved around. So hopefully we've got him back on track.
The last couple of games, you've held teams down around 60 points. That isn't what you've been doing. Do you attribute that mostly to rebounding?
I think that's I think we've out-rebounded our opponents 123 to 80 something in the last 3 games, and when you do that, you take away a lot of second chances for guys, and I think that that's probably has the biggest part of it. Our guys have been pretty engaged too. I mean, it's a lot of possessions to guard when you play as fast as we do, but I think we've been better at it the last couple of weeks.
What is it about San Diego that makes them a tough matchup?
Well, they're really tough guys, okay, and that's what they have their whole program built on. It's similar to St. Mary's, and they're guys who are very good at reading your defensive approach, and so they have counters to almost everything that you do, and they really slip well into the basket. And we got burned pretty good down there with where they read how we were guarding them, and they stepped to the ball and then just got easy baskets. And that'll be our challenge tomorrow, is to make them earn baskets, earn what they get, and instead of just being able to get right on top of the rim and score. But they're smart. They're really well coached. They're physical front line. Really, there's not too many possessions where a guy's not getting clocked, and hopefully we're the ones delivering the blow instead of just receiving it.